Faith Time is our regular conversation on matters of faith, and joining us today is Kamal Saleem with Mobile Masjid of Al-Islam. Good day to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we wanted to talk about Ramadan, major holiday in Islam. What is it?
Well, Ramadan is the month of fasting. We have 5 pillars, principles in Islam, and Ramadan is one of those. Ramadan is the month that we fast, that we go without food, from before sunrise to sunset.
Why is this period of fasting important?
The reason fasting is important because we know life can get in the way, and sometimes a person's spiritual essence because of the everyday challenges of life. So what Ramadan does, it calls you back to your purpose, which is to serve the Creator. So Ramadan is a time spent fasting, going without food, but it's also a time spent on reflection where you're praying, you're reading the scripture, you're trying to do good deeds. So it's a time of spiritual cleansing.
You talk about it getting us closer to God, or Allah in this case, or really your spiritual center. How does the fasting do that? Is it less of a distraction in our lives?
Well, actually, what happens is when you're fasting, I think through the years, what I have seen is that fasting brings clarity to you. And bringing clarity, by that I mean that when you're fasting, you're not worrying about going to get that coffee, or you're not trying to get that pastry or the food. So you're laser focused. And when you're laser focused, that has a tendency to have you to express your true self.
Yeah, some Christians fast during Lent. Jews have holy days that involve fasting. Really all the major world religions have some form of fasting in their rituals. Why do you think that is?
I think that is because the Creator understands that as human beings, there's going to be things that would challenge us, there were things that distract us. So I think when you look at all the faith, God the Creator is letting us know that we should never forget our purpose in this creation.
You mentioned the distractions that the fasting helps us get away from. You mentioned the food. What other distractions does fasting help us kind of push out of the way in our lives so we can be focused?
Well, let's say, for instance, work and school. A person has to go to work, they get up to the alarm clock, they're working because they're saying, you know what, I'm providing for my family, so I've got to get up and do that. That's good. Or the student says, I've got to take this exam. So you're constantly rushing, you're constantly doing things, but when you take time to reflect and you take time to ponder and you say, you know what, I can do those things, but let me not forget my main purpose as a human being, and that is to be disciplined, that's to be loyal to the Creator. So I think that's why all of the faith traditions have a form of fasting, because fasting has a way of calling you back.
Tell me about the ways that one can reflect when you're fasting like this. Do you just stop and pray, or what's some effective?
Well, actually, what we have as principle, we have 5 prayers per day, so that doesn't change. But it just intensifies it because during the month of Ramadan, you're trying to make your prayers on time. So what it does is that in the morning when you get up after you take your early morning meal, we read, of course, we have the book, the Quran, the scripture. So we try to read 1/30 because it's 29 or 30 days. So you start off by reading the scripture, you start off by praying, and because you're going without food, you don't have that distraction. Well, I got to do my breakfast, I've got to do any of that. So your concentration now is just trying to get through the day, but also with the purpose that you're reflecting and you're being conscious that you're actually fasting.
We mentioned that really all the major world religions have some form of fasting in their practices. What are the things about Ramadan in particular that might make this fasting practice a little bit unique?
Well, I think one of the things that make fasting unique during the month of Ramadan, well, if you look at the fast of Lent, which is 40 days, and that is abstaining from a form of meat. And then, you have Ash Wednesday, where you have different things that you do. And then you take the Jewish fast. They have a number of fasts, but you have Yom Kippur. And they go from sunset to sunset. So I would say that Ramadan and Yom Kippur is probably very close, because the Jews that's practicing that, they're going to fast from sunset to sunset, which is 25 hours. I mean, you know the way they fast.
Yeah.
The month of Ramadan, what we do is before the sunrise, about an hour before sunrise, we start to fast. And we don't stop the fast until sunset. So the similarity between the Jewish fast and the Islamic fast is that both of those fasts, we're going without food and water. You know, the fast of Lent, you staying away from meat, but during the month of Ramadan, we're not consuming water, we're not consuming food. So that's one of the distinct differences between those fasts.
And I know some people do intermittent fasting for health reasons. Some churches have fasting periods that may not be connected to any sort of formal religious observance. Can fasting in Islam happen outside of Ramadan? Oh,
absolutely, yeah. I'm sure Muslims, just like Christians and Jews, you have different fasting during Ramadan is just a mandatory fast. But I'm sure that Muslims like to fast, like many years ago when I was in college. Anytime it was time for exams, I would fast. If it's final exam, because I didn't want to be distracted, so I would fast. You got a special occasion coming up, you would fast because it clears your mind. So you fast at different times.
Now, I confess I am not a sturdy person, so I worry about missing a meal, but are there safety or health concerns that need to be watched for when fasting?
That's a good point, because you are going without food and water, and you have different climatic conditions in different places. Like, for instance, if you're in the desert, you know it's pulling water out of you. If you're on the coast, if it's cold, you probably don't have the same conditions. So what you want to be careful of is that what I would caution people that's fasting, especially older people and people with health concerns, it's not mandatory for you to fast if you have a health concern. If you're diabetic, if you have high blood pressure, you should consult your doctor, because you know you can have some serious repercussions from fasting. So it's not how long you can go without food, but your first priority is to make sure that you're safe as a human. You know, it's not a great sacrifice to go without food and you kill yourself.
Right. It's not meant to be an endurance test.
Absolutely.
It's meant to refocus the mind.
Right. And we emphasize, we say it's not how long you fast, but it's how well you fast. So when sunset comes, it's time for you to break. Because maybe a new person started, they say, you know what, I'm not hungry yet. No, but it's mandatory you should break, because your body needs sustenance. So you want to be balanced in that regard.
One of the things that we've been talking about is the idea that fasting sharpens the mind, focuses you on the things that you need to be focused on. So what insights do you think you've gained while fasting during Ramadan?
I think some of the insights that I've gained, and of course you get them from different stages of your life, I think what I've gotten from it, probably the main thing is discipline. Because when you can regulate not consuming food, then other things is really just an annoyance. You know, it's not really challenging to you. If you can go without food and water, then when those challenges come up, like, you know, well, should I do this, should I do that? You should have enough discipline to control yourself. So I think one of the main things you get from fasting is discipline. But I also think that it brings about a consciousness. Because when you're fasting, like for instance, say when you're visiting relatives, you start seeing how strong relationships are, because especially older people, you got older people that's dying, and you realize that that's ultimately your destiny as well. So I think fasting just kind of put things back in perspective to let you know that this is a sequence, that life is a journey, but you want to make sure that you're disciplined, that you conscious of the Creator, and that you're trying to just get the best out of yourself and others.
You were talking about how, you know, every day with Ramadan, the fast ends, it has to end, you should eat, even if you don't feel hungry. For you, what is your favorite or best post-fast food? My best post-fast, and let me qualify that first, because during the month of Ramadan, you shouldn't eat the extravagant food, because you're really trying to eat as a poor person or average person. But when it's all over, my most favorite food is salmon. Salmon? I love salmon, especially if it's blackened salmon. Oh, now that does sound good. Salmon. All right. Note to self for that one. What has been? Do you look forward to Ramadan? Is it something that you approach with a little bit of hesitation? What's the emotion as you get closer to that? Well, from a community standpoint, and a lot of us share it, we call it our old friend. We say our old friend Ramadan is coming, because of course it comes once a year.
And on the lunar calendar, it backs up about 11 days. So we get a chance to experience it in all seasons. Like now, we're going to be experiencing it in nice climatic conditions with it being cold. Well, just think about when we have to fast in July and August.
Yeah,
that's a little different because the days are longer. Yeah.
What is your favorite part about that time of year? Is it the gatherings?
My favorite part, and you hit it on it, my favorite part is the gathering, is that you see people that don't always come out, because just like in religion, everybody, just like Easter, you probably see everybody on Easter Sunday. During Ramadan, people that might not frequent community life as much, they come out to break the fast. It's a big deal for us to break the fast at the end of the day. So we sit down and we have a meal, we socialize, we talk, we reflect. So that's one of the highlights, is the socialization of it. You
mentioned consulting with a doctor, of course, yes, before you do this. Is there anything else that you recommend before somebody approaches fasting or says, I'm going to do this to try to sharpen my mind? What else should they do?
I would say that for the person, especially for the young person or the new person that's first starting to fast, is that to make sure that you consume water early, because you can easily get dehydrated. Because sometimes your spiritual self might tell you that you're doing well, but if you're not taking water in, that's coming out of your system, and that can have some repercussions later on. So I would say you want to make sure that you consume water early, and your body adjusts through the days. It's amazing how your stomach shrink. So you don't need as much food as you think you do, but water is the lifeline. So you definitely want to make sure that you consume water. And when it's time to break the fast, I recommend, rather than breaking it with a cold drink, break it with water, because water is the life substance and it's natural.
What age do people in Islam usually start Ramadan?
It's recommended to start fasting after puberty, because once that they're responsible, then they're encouraged to fast.
All right, Ramadan, talking about that with, of course, our guest here today on Faith Time, Kamal Saleem with Mobile Masjid of Al-Islam. We thank you for joining us for this edition of Faith Time on News 5.
Thank you.